Well, good evening. My name is Craig Blanchett. I'm a healthy lifestyle coach, and I'm here tonight. We're going to be going through Dr. A's Habits of Health, and tonight we're covering Chapter 18. We've been on a series now, started at the end of the book, Chapter 26, and we've been working our way every week up to Chapter 1. And so tonight's episode or edition is going to be on building your support system, and really the value of if you think about support, support is what holds things up or holds things together. And so, if you have, I'm just thinking about duct tape. A duct tape can be an amazing support system, right? When things are coming apart, you can duct tape them together. And I was also thinking about when they are building bridges and things like that, they're put these support mechanisms up while they're pouring the concrete, and they wait for the concrete to harden. And then when they take the supports, they've built in the support into the structure. And so we can do that with our health. And our program is very, very, very focused on healthy habits, but at the center of all the different habits is a support structure that holds it all together. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so I'm going to welcome the rest of you guys onto the call here this morning. I had a couple of highlights that I wanted to go through that were important to me, and then I was going to ask you guys a couple of questions from the workbook. The first one I want to talk about is it's actually this little picture here. It's the triangle there, and it says healthy eating, it says healthy motion, and healthy sleep. And those are kind of the three main components, eating, moving, and sleeping. And those are like the cornerstones of optimal health. And at the center is the triangle called support. And Dr. A talks about we learn through baby steps. And so those baby steps are starting out, this is on page 223, it talks about, look at these three methods that will help you master the habits of health. First one is studying. Get excited about the new you that's unfolding, and get busy learning. I was just thinking about the idea of learning. Everybody loves to learn. When we go watch a movie, we're actually learning. I don't know if you thought about that. It's kind of like entertainment, and movies are learning. You get to learn the characters in the movie. You get to learn the plot. You get to learn who's the bad guys and the good guys and what's going to happen. And if you think about it, you're being entertained, but you're also learning. And so if you think about learning and studying things, it can be fun and entertaining. It just depends on how you think about it. If you think about it as homework, well, nobody thinks, I think, of homework as a good thing, right? That was something we were forced to do. But we all love to learn, and we all are learning all the time. So studying, figure out when you're reading through this book, you're learning how to feel great. And I've never heard somebody, when I did a poll, would you like to feel better tomorrow or less good, worse? Nobody said, nah, give me some diarrhea. That's what I want. I've never heard that. I know, Becky, I said diarrhea. Can you believe that? And so studying, doing, and then modeling. And so doing, first you have to study what to do, then you have to do it. And then the third one is you model it for other people. So you get to be a role model for other people and lift them up so they can actually, maybe you can come alongside them and help them to study, help them to do, and then help them to model. And that's one of the brilliant pieces that many of us are on this call are health coaches. And so the first person I coach is me. I'm my own health coach, right? And I'm always learning and training and teaching it myself. And so when as a health coach, somebody that is a health coach as a vocation has 5 times better success at keeping their weight off. There was a 5-year study that John Hopkins did, and people that become coaches, actually, it's a pretty great investment on your return. So anyway, this is the idea of what we do through our support system. And those are some basic pieces there that stood out to me. So I'm curious, as you guys are reading through this, what else you guys had that jumped out to you, that stands out to you. It's a pretty short chapter. So go ahead and jump in if you have a comment that jumps out to you guys. Thanks, Kim. Kim said, I have an awesome health coach. That's funny.
Well, I just wanted to say that I like the fact that he didn't, Dr. A, that is, didn't funnel us all into one model. And there are some people, and I like the way he was forthright about it. Yeah, you can do this on your own if you're a disciplined person. But, I know I'm old enough to have figured out that we all do better in groups. And so that was one of my big takeaways, was in a larger kind of sense. I like the way it was organized, and to the point that, you can do it whatever way you want, but here are the pitfalls.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Barb, it's interesting that you say that, because back in the day when I was racing a lot, I remember how crazy it was, thinking back on this now. But I went to Paris one time, and I raced. I was there for like a week, and I saw the airport, I saw the road to the hotel, the road to the track, the road to the hotel, and the road back to the airport. Can you believe it? I was in Paris and I didn't see the Eiffel Tower. I didn't see the Louvre. I think we drove by the Louvre on the way to the race. And in my mind, I just thought it wasn't worth having those memories when it was only me making them. Now that I'm married and my wife travels, we go see as many sites as we can get in during the weekend, because I get to enjoy it and make a memory with somebody. Mm-hmm. And so when I think about health, and I think about me on this journey with each one of you, it's way better. And I'm pretty disciplined. So it's not just about the discipline. For me, it's about the experience along the way. And I wouldn't want to do health by myself, even if I could. Just like I can go to Paris, but I just don't want to by myself. I don't know about you, but that it strikes to me. But not only you might be able to do it if you're disciplined, but even if you're disciplined, it's just, I don't know, it's a different experience. Any comments on that kind of idea about making those experiences with others?
As an introvert myself, I have spent most of my life trying to avoid groups. So this is a concept that can be kind of uncomfortable, I guess, at times. And coming into this, I would say I have a fair amount of discipline and can do this pretty successfully on my own. But I agree, Craig. It is so much better, and that's what we say a lot of times in these groups, is we're so much better together. I'm thinking about kind of my own experience as I'm reading through this, but I know personally, I've just had the realization that, man, on my own, at best, I lack perspective. I can't see things from all different sides. My favorite example of this is with my husband and I. This is really random. I should probably not say this on recording, but I will anyway. But he used to make fun of me because he said my tongue was so long, like long tongue. And I would say, no, your tongue is really short. So like alone, we don't have any perspective. It's not until we go out and compare with other people that we discover what really is the truth, mm-hmm. And so I like using that example because getting other people's experiences and perspective really makes us better, really does. And mm-hmm. so, and then the other thing is I had this mental thing when I went into the store recently around Super Bowl, and I felt pretty strong in my journey, and I'm coming up on my 2-year mark, which feels really great, of maintaining my weight. But I went into the grocery store, I saw all these cupcakes and all this junk, and I know it's junk, and I know it's not going to make me feel good. And I had this thought for a moment, like, oh, I miss the days when I could eat whatever I wanted. And then I just immediately, like, being my own health coach, are you nuts? What are you forgotten everything that you gained by, eating healthy? And I thought, if I wasn't connected in the middle, I have a lot of people that depend on me to call them every week. If I didn't set up my life that way, how long would it be before that thought went to, oh yeah, I really do, miss that, I have my life set up so that my thoughts can't go back there. I'm surrounded by health. And I just felt really thankful in that moment. But without that social network, and even though for me, sometimes it might be uncomfortable because I am introverted, it's like a lifesaver. So that's what I thought of as I read through this. So
that's great. Thanks, Kim, for sharing. Did that spark anything else in any of the rest of you as you're thinking through or listening? So I've got a question here. It says, what qualities are important to you in a personal coach? And so a personal coach talks about, a personal coach is a one-on-one professional coach. A one-on-one professional coach is solely invested in your success. This comes from the companion guide, and can be particularly helpful if you're having difficulty getting going or staying on track with your new healthy habits. I recommend one of the health coaches that I've helped train, because they're using the habits of health to guide their own lives and coach others. Whomever you choose, interview them first before you commit, and make sure that their support services and lifestyle you want and that complement your personality. For example, you do not want to be contacted every day by your coach. Do you want to be contacted every day by your coach? Do you need a face-to-face interaction or just a phone call or email? And so the qualities that I wrote down, if you think about these, maybe you can add these. I'd like everybody to add at least one thing. And for me, it was what qualities are important to you in a personal coach? And my three that I had was encouragement. I want to be encouraged. Even if I've made a choice that wasn't the best for me, if there was something good, if I saw that I made a bad choice, then encourage the fact that I recognized that, because bottom line is, if I recognize making bad choices all the time, eventually I'm going to figure it out. Right? So there's always something good, even in a bad choice, if you see it. The other one was just support. And then feedback is another one. It was that feedback to allow me to process through the challenge and help me to see what's on the other side of the door. Because I may just see that challenge and I don't see that there's something, or I see that choice or that challenge and I don't see what's on the other side of the door. And oftentimes my choice and the consequence are always connected. And so when I can see, well, I can eat this, sure, but I can't eat this without getting that. And I don't want that. So I'm not going to eat this. And that's really helpful for me to keep that in perspective. So I'd love us all to go around and just say what is a specific quality that's important to you to have in a personal coach. Stephanie, we got two Stephanies. We got a Steph and a Stephanie. So we'll start with Stephanie on the iPad first. I'll unmute you.
Hi, Craig. I think probably just somebody that holds you accountable for your actions, and not necessarily lectures you on those, but make sure that you are in check.
Yeah, and when you say hold accountable, can you give us a little more detail? What would that look like when you're thinking about that? What would that actually look like?
Well, if you set certain goals for yourself, let's just say, I mean, for the health challenge that we just recently had, like 6% weight loss or whatever it was, and that person is not, losing weight at the speed that they wanted to because they set that goal for themselves, to along the way check in with them and make sure that they're on the right track, and I guess hold them accountable. Like you said, you wanted to do this. Is it still something that you want to do?
Yeah.
And then figure out a plan together of how you can make it happen.
Yeah, that's excellent. That actually helps me to coach you.
No, I don't want it for me. I want it for everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
I didn't do so well last time.
Okay. There'll be another one. There's always another chance, right? So thanks. Good to see you again, by the way.
Yep.
All right. Stephanie, my mama.
I guess understanding, really understanding where the person's coming from and how they're really feeling, so that, because empathy goes a long way. If you understand where they're coming from and why, you can actually help them a lot better than if you just give them your,
Yeah. I heard there's empathy. There's Brene Brown has a really great video on empathy, and she talks about entering into their pain. Instead of trying to always find the silver lining, just say, man, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened to you. Those are some powerful words, just to say, man, I'm sorry that happened. So good stuff. How about you, Virginia?
For me, it's really maintenance of good relationship. It's not just you telling them, okay, I think this is the right one, or because people could be very sensitive, and learning from them on the other hand, how they're going through with this journey. You learn from them what they experience. It's not just you telling them, okay, this is what I learned, this is but it's also a matter of them telling you, okay, this is what I feel, and how
it's a two-way.
Two-way
learning from each other. Great.
Yes.
Excellent. How about you, Becky? I unmuted you. By the way, hello.
Hello. The first one that came to my mind was a lack of judgment. I think I have plenty of judgment on myself. One of the things that I really work on is every choice is a choice, and it just is what it is. It doesn't have to be a big guilt-ridden situation. And I need to make sure that I have people on my team that are going to help me stay true to that, because I'm pretty quick to go into the just attaching my self-worth to whether or not I made a good choice with food.
Isn't that interesting, Becky? I hear some of my clients will say, I was bad this weekend, or I was good this weekend. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, the scale went up. So when the scale goes up, you are bad. And when the scale goes down, you are good. What if you weren't good or bad based upon the scale? The scale was just a reflection of the choices you made. It had nothing to do with your self-worth. Yeah, good stuff. Great. Barb, how about you?
Oh, I don't know. Everyone's touched on some aspect of what I think is important to me, but I think probably the bottom line is, someone and a coach, the kind of coach that I'd like to be is someone who, can find a way to walk in my shoes, because I have a tendency, and I think most of us do, but maybe I'm wrong, have a tendency to think that our problems are our own, or what we struggle with is what we struggle with, and nobody struggles with stuff that we struggle with. And so, someone who has that can just jump in and say, that exact same thing happened to me. And that gives a lot of comfort. And then knowing that someone else overcame something is also energizing and motivating.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. It is good to have that, people that know how you feel because they've been there or know something like it. Yeah. And then how about you, Kim?
Again, touched on by lots of people, but I would say somebody that you can count on. That's not going to let you down, but also the big thing for me, I think, is that trust has to be developed. I know that Steph and many people touched on that already, that empathy, and I guess for me to trust people, they have to kind of show me that they care, first. Otherwise I start and I'm pretty guarded at first. So, great. But then also what Stephanie said too is that accountability piece that they are empathetic, but they aren't afraid to present something that you need to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a loving way, I guess.
Yeah, here's thank you, Kim. Here's a couple of questions that I learned. There are 3 questions. It's called the Columbo tactic. That's what I learned it as. And the first question is, you're seeking clarity, seeking understanding, and you say simply, "What do you mean by?" And that's what I did with Stephanie. What do you mean by accountability? Tell me more about what that looks like, because I was trying to seek understanding. And then the second one might be, if they've made a judgment, how did you come to the conclusion you came to? How did you connect those 2 dots? And then the third one, so it's, what did you mean by that? How did you come to that conclusion? And the third one is, have you considered? And so that's a way to kind of maybe give them another perspective to think about. Once you have understood where they're coming from, how they got there, then you might offer another piece that, have you considered this? Have you considered doing something else? And those help out a lot in my life, and I try to use those as much as I can, because I make assumptions that I know what people mean. And just like when Stephanie said accountability, I wanted to know, I know what I think of when I hear someone say accountability, but I wanted to hear it through her words. And it was actually, it was really helpful to hear that, what you meant by that. So, well, great, guys. Well, that's going to conclude our Habits of Health. We call this TSFL University. And so we do this every week from 6:30 to 7. And so next week, we're going to be going over the sleep chapter, which is chapter number 17, my actual favorite chapter in the entire book. Actually, if you gauge favorites based upon how much I highlighted it, it was my favorite, clearly. So what we're going to do, so thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next